Dive in as we explore R.A. Smith's innovative use of aerial LIDAR technology, which started as a cost savings initiative, has provided unexpected growth opportunities for this engineering firm. Discover how LIDAR technology is allowing R.A. Smith to transform how we detect the ground in challenging terrains, such as forest canopies and under dense corn. Let's get started.
Hey, John, welcome to the show. How's everything going today?
Going well. Thank you for having me.
Outstanding. I'm so glad you're here with us. Hey, for the people that aren't familiar with who you are and who R.A. Smith is, could you give us a brief outline of your company and what you do?
Sure. R.A. Smith is a civil engineering and surveying company. We're corporately based out of Brookfield, Wisconsin, a suburb of Milwaukee, if you will, with offices, other offices in the Midwest as well as out on the West Coast. We are a civil engineering and surveying firm at our core, but we also offer other services such as ecological services, landscape, architecture and design, and construction management and inspection. I am a senior project manager with our surveying group. I have been with R.A. Smith for 24 years now, started in 99. And currently I manage our static scanning and aerial LIDAR services within our surveying group. We've been in the static scanning business since 2007 and kind of moved into that aerial realm, say, within the last 6 or 7 years. But just aerial LIDAR is newer for us. Only been doing it for about a year now. But we're happy to be involved with that technology now, too.
Right on. So why, obviously you had to do a business proposal, but why did you decide to make the jump from static to aerial and drone?
Sure. Aerial LiDAR was a very intriguing technology for us because a lot of our business is, say, greenfield sites. And many of those sites end up in a situation where we're surveying ag land, sometimes forested properties as well. And our ability to get in and out of these sites as quickly as possible from a surveying perspective was very important. The engineers in our company, I will say, we're a big E and a little S as far as engineering and surveying here. So our ability to get survey up to our engineers as quickly as possible is really important. And we're in Southeast Wisconsin, a lot of ag property up this way. And when it comes to greenfield development, when we have to go in and survey 80, 120 acres worth of standing corn, let's say.
Yeah.
First of all, the field guys really don't get excited about the next couple weeks worth of work for them. Walking through 8 to 10 foot tall corn is no fun for anybody.
Yeah, because you can't drive through it.
no driving through mature corn, that's for sure. So vegetation penetration on a system like this is extremely important to us, and that was one of the driving factors behind our reasons for wanting to get into aerial LIDAR. We knew, based on our research, that it could get us, if it was the right system, it could get us into vertical accuracies that were going to be acceptable for those types of projects. And it was just a matter of finding the right partner and investing in the right system.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, for our audience here, what system did you end up going with and why?
We ended up buying the Phoenix LiDAR Mini Ranger 3 Lite.
Nice.
And yes, it has been very nice for us. We, as I mentioned before, we did a lot of research and we took our process through its paces as well. We started with a very wide range of searching. We ended up shortlisting 3 different manufacturers, Phoenix included, obviously, and ended up selecting Phoenix based on a series of criteria that a small team that I put together basically used to kind of grade those 3 shortlisted firms. I will state also, Phoenix wasn't the least expensive option of the 3 we shortlisted to, but in the end, we felt very confident in the system itself. We got a very good feeling from Phoenix in terms of the technical support side of their business. which was extremely important to us. From an aerial, say, photogrammetry perspective, which is a technology we've been in for 5 or 6 years now, we had a few earlier systems where tech support was a little bit more difficult to come by, especially
Right.
when we had a technology partner that was in, say, a much different time zone or possibly even outside of the U.S. And we found that to be challenging in terms of trying to get timely tech support. It wasn't that tech support was poor necessarily, but that time difference made a kind of a significant impact on our business, and we really wanted to try and stay away from that. And when we
Well, you need it when you
evaluated,
need it.
yeah, that's right, and so we got a pretty good feeling from Phoenix about their tech support side of their business. And I'll say that after we made the purchase, it's lived up to what we hoped it would. Your tech support has been top notch and extremely timely. It's been a great asset for us, honestly.
Excellent, excellent. And then, so you have the Mini Ranger 3, and you're doing this on green sites. Why the Mini Ranger 3? And well, let me stop real quick and say, could you explain what a green site is for the folks that don't know, and then why the Mini Ranger 3?
I mean, green sites are basically new development sites that don't already have a significant amount of improvements in them. Ultimately, could be
Mm-hmm.
farmland, ag land, could be forested land, just open field. It's basically new development that is going to be placed in an area that hasn't already been developed. Ultimately,
Right. Okay. And then how does the Mini Ranger 3 fit into that? What are the advantages and disadvantages for what you're doing?
the biggest thing is it gets us to point B faster. Ultimately, we have many pinch points throughout the life cycle of a project, and getting our guys out in the field, getting all that topo captured, brought back to the office, processed, and pushed out to the engineers as quickly as possible. That is a critical component to our business. Getting into aerial lidar, it allows us to kind of offset some of our boots on the ground type surveying efforts, where we're feeling one of our pinches in terms of labor shortage right now. Ability to
Mm-hmm.
get new guys in and out in the field and capturing data for us. And here we have the ability to at least capture to some extent the same kinds of data with some technology where we don't have as hard a time trying to find new hires who are interested in working with this type of technology. It's a little easier to find, although it is a very specialty niche, if you will. And so they're kind of hard to find that way as well. But ultimately, people seem to be very excited about working with lasers and drones.
Of course they are. It's lasers.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and how hard was it for you guys to adopt it to adopt an aerial LiDAR system or a drone-based LiDAR system?
It actually went smoother than we thought.
Yeah.
We have this rich static lidar history. Been doing that for over 15 years now. We have a team of 4 or 5 that works with static lidar data day in and day out, and so we have a lot of confidence when it comes to working with static lidar data. And a lot of those data sets are very similar in the end when it gets to, say, data extraction. There's a huge amount of similarities there, but
Right.
processing the raw data, from the aerial lidar unit to get it to data extraction point was something that we had never done before, and so that took a little bit of training and some modification of some of our workflows, but it really wasn't as painful as we thought it was going to be.
Gotcha. That's great. I mean, it's good when you have those standard workflows and they just match what you're already existing with, and going from static, which is primarily LiDAR on a stick, it doesn't go anywhere,
That's
to
right.
adding that telemetry correction is really the only jump that you should really be seeing.
Yes.
Excellent. So, we were talking earlier, about your bid process, and you had mentioned you had talked to a whole bunch of us, but can you share inside the house what you had to do to basically procure that system to your own business development team?
Sure. Um, we had to write a full-blown business plan ultimately. Every 5 years, we go through a strategic planning process where we are asked, as business units within the corporate umbrella, to brainstorm on ways in which we can generate more revenue and or improve profitability. And from the surveying perspective, this was one area in which we thought we could um, definitely improve some of our internal costs, improve some of our own internal efficiencies.
Right.
Not necessarily grow brand new businesses, although since investing in the technology, it has opened up a couple doors for us in some areas where we
Mm-hmm.
really hadn't originally targeted or thought that was going to be a significant impact for us. But it certainly has held true in terms of our efficiencies. It's given us the ability to to improve ourselves that way. And
Yeah.
ultimately, all of that rolled into a business plan, which was then presented to our internal teams, and then selected amongst many others in terms of strategic planning initiatives to implement over the next 5 years.
Gotcha. Well, and I think, all of this kind of tying this all together, bringing some important points, as business owners, or if you have a board of directors, whatever you're dealing, the first thing we all think about is where's the growth? And LIDAR really isn't a growth mechanism, right? It's a cost savings mechanism. But as you were talking about earlier, having the labor shortages, or finding the qualified people to do traditional field work, in addition to adding that speed of efficiency, um, that I think that is really the underlying thing of any business proposal when dealing with LIDAR. But since that time when you bought your system, what opportunities, because you've been doing greenfield spaces, which is an area scan. So what other things have opened up for you, now that you've got the Mini Ranger 3?
Sure. Corridor work. First and foremost, we a lot of our business as a whole, in terms of the entire corporate umbrella, we do a lot of work for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all corridor work, obviously. And we knew that there was probably going to be some opportunities on that side of our business to also provide some aerial lidar services, and that proved to be true. But there's other corridor type work that kind of came to fruition as well. Some large scale, we'll call them public or quasi public utilities that have come to light also, where we're
Mm-hmm.
essentially scanning. Many of them still are road corridors, but sometimes not always. And we've been able to utilize the unit in that capacity also. A little different animal than wide area scanning, but a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the skills that you need to do that translate directly over into corridor scanning as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the mission planning is a little bit different because you're going by linear foot instead of by area. So you may not have the same jump off point, but the process is all the same. But with that, whether we're talking about green space or we're talking about corridor mapping, with the Mini Ranger 3, obviously you're collecting green space around either a right of way, a farmer's field, or down the corridor of a roadside. But you're up in Wisconsin in the Midwest, got cornfields, and so one of the things that I keep hearing with some of the former clients that I had was, will it get to the corn? So can you explain, what the 5 returns gets you and that kind of point density? What have you seen?
Yes, we are very excited about that part of this technology and its capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
We knew in our research and in our training, and even talking to Phoenix in general before we bought the system, that a multi-return system was going to be paramount here. The Mini Ranger 3 Lite gives us 5 returns. We knew we were going to have a pretty good chance of getting to ground in corn, even fully mature 8 to 10 foot tall corn, and it has absolutely proven to be the case. We've flown full height, fully mature corn in June, middle of July, through the summer months, and even into the fall when it starts to die back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ground consistently every single time. And we prove all of that through, we generally follow ASPRS aerial mapping standards. So
Right.
we have our ground control points and all of our check shots on each and every flight, and we're proving that each and every time.
Mm-hmm.
So our confidence level to get ground through certain crops, corn being one of those, is very high. Not a problem for us at all. We don't get ground in areas where we didn't think we were going to get ground. There's a lot of soybeans up in this area of the country as well.
Darn it.
Yeah, fully mature, very full and bushy soybeans. It presents a problem, and we didn't really think we could get to ground in a crop like that either. And most of the time we don't. But we did our own testing just to prove that also. Alfalfa, if we get it early enough, or if it's been recently cut, say, we can get ground there as well. But those are probably the three biggest crops in the area up here. And and then the other side of it is, the wooded areas also. And as long as we don't have full canopy up top and then a lot of ground cover as well, we can get ground. We can get ground through one or two of those. And that's worked out pretty well for us also.
Right. Yeah, I have a couple samples right here. But yeah, so dual canopy, you can get through a little bit. You get into triple canopy and things get interesting is what I'm kind of hearing here.
Yes.
So, which then you go up to even a system that has even higher density.
Right.
And we've got those. So that's cool. So, in project planning, it's great that you can get, knee high by the 4th of July. But I mean, what other environmental considerations do you have for trees and for crops? Do you try to stack them into the spring and fall, or, what's your typical strategy here?
Yeah, the best that we can. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
In times where we can't do that, we do have some times where we have to basically move to some other technology just because of the time of year. I mean, our clients, unfortunately, they don't have as much consideration for the time of year as we would like them to.
Right.
So there's other types of technology out there as well. Some of the GPS technology out there today, when you're working with a local base station and they're taking into, 4 different satellite constellations versus 3, we can get GPS into areas that we didn't used to be able to get into before with GPS. But I would say between aerial LIDAR and the new GPS technologies, the days of cutting line through thick vegetation are over for the most part. And our field guys are very thankful for that.
Right. Excellent. Okay. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here today for sure. And this has been great. With that said, this is Phoenix's 10-year anniversary. And, part of this is, we're asking what your experience has been like and if there's anything you'd like to share with Phoenix.
Well, that's great. Happy 10-year anniversary to Phoenix. I will say they are probably our top strategic partner as far as technology is concerned down here in Survey. We've been very happy with everything Phoenix so far. I guess maybe a message, or maybe I should say this, maybe something that I'm most thankful for. I'll give you 2 things that I'm most thankful for on Phoenix's 10-year anniversary. One, and we touched on it earlier, the tech support. The tech support from Phoenix has been outstanding for us. We've had situations where we need some help either in the field or in the office. It really doesn't matter. We've had great response time. We always seem to get the right person on the phone very quickly. The issues that we've had have not been very major at all. These are more minor technicalities. I would say even issues that don't relate directly to Phoenix technology. We had an issue with one of the aircraft that we fly our LiDAR unit under, which is certainly not, Phoenix's obligation necessarily, but they were able to troubleshoot an aircraft issue we were having. And so we certainly appreciate that. So thank you very much for that, for the technical support that we get from Phoenix has been outstanding. And then I'll say that the other thing is, Rob in particular has been a great sounding board for us. And I greatly appreciate Rob's expertise in the consulting industry. Sitting in the chair of somebody similar to me for another company and providing these services for others, I think gives Rob some perspective that not everybody in the LiDAR manufacturing industry, really fully understands. And Rob brings that perspective to the table. And I've had some conversations with Rob about, building business and kind of next steps in terms of, where we go from here as we kind of continue to expand our advanced technology services, if you will. And those conversations have been very fruitful, and I'm very thankful for that. So happy 10-year anniversary to Phoenix and Rob.
Man, that's awesome. And yeah, you bring up a good point about Rob, is that it's so valuable to have somebody that's been there and done that, where I've worked for a lot of LiDAR companies where great engineering, but really don't understand your challenges in the field. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because he is a golden gem out there for sure. All right. Hey, if somebody gets inspired today, John, they're like, wow, I love what you guys are doing. And maybe they're not ready to buy LiDAR yet, or they want to test out a project. How would they get a hold of you guys?
The best place is just to contact me directly. We have a lot of information on our website, and Dan, I think we can list that on screen here as well. But
yeah,
either through the website or contact me directly via email, or I have direct line to my desk. I'd love to talk to you.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll leave those in the comments down below for those guys, and obviously we put it on the screen there for you. But hey, John, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. It's just a lot of folks, they read about technology, but they don't get basically the ground truth. And I'm really appreciative that you came here and shared your wisdom with us today, and what the ground truth was. So thanks again.
Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate your time.
All right, take care.